Hey guys, Adam here, and in today's video we're going to talk about stress and the link it has with belly fat. So, improving our body composition is simple, right? We need to move more and eat less, and voila, the body fat comes off. And in essence, that's right in a perfect world, but we know that the world isn't perfect. So the question is there such a thing as a stress eater? I mean, we've all heard the terminology before. I get stressed out, so I eat more and therefore I'm out of shape. But is there any science to back it up, or is it just a case of somebody's gone, bugger it, I've had enough of this week, I need a donut? Now, one thing we do know is that there is a link between stress and increased belly fat. And belly fat's a little bit different. Belly fat's a bit more dangerous than, let's say, holding a little bit of extra weight in the thighs or in the bingo wings, because the weight that we're holding around the belly is around our organs, and that creates a fair bit of trouble for us later on in life. So when we're faced with the stress, the body flicks into what's called the fight or flight response. And though that may save our life in some situations, generally speaking, the stresses that we face in everyday modern life aren't what they used to be, as in being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. When we're in that fight or flight response, adrenaline starts pumping through the body, and that increases the level of a hormone called cortisol within our system. Now, cortisol in large amounts is linked to things like depression. The brain, being as smart as it is, understands how to get back from this bad mood into a good mood. And it understands that certain foods trigger certain pleasure centers in the brain, which release positive hormones like dopamine and basically the feel-good stuff, which elevates the mood. And generally speaking, it's the foods that are higher in carbs that stimulate those parts of the brain. So therein lies the issue. If the body has a track record of knowing how to get from a lull into a high, by ingesting, highly sugary, refined, high carbohydrate foods, this cycle sort of starts. And then we basically get fat from eating too many cookies. Now, so the conundrum is do we lock ourselves away from the cookies, or do we bring in some processes into our health and fitness regime that offset or help us manage the stress before it even pops up on a day-to-day basis? The management of stress is often overlooked until we sort of breach our resting point and we get into the red and everything starts to fall apart. So what I want to do is talk about my 5 top tips on how to manage stress before it becomes a problem. So the first thing we need to sort out is get some kind of structured approach to getting better sleep, better quality sleep. So sleep hygiene is what it's called. Now, again, it's not rocket science, but it's so easy to stray and for all of a sudden be up until 1:30 in the morning and on our phone and these sort of things. So the basics of it is what's your caffeine after lunchtime? You think by having a glass of wine or a whiskey at night is relaxing. Well, it's definitely not the case. You fall asleep faster, but it's not a deep sleep that you're getting into. We've got to get to a consistent time, turn the lights out, put the phone away from arm's reach, so we're not checking notifications and things like that. But sleep is just as important as monitoring your calories, getting your steps in. Sort out your sleep. Next up would be get your Zen on. And this can be different. There's a different approach for different types of people. But your mind-body classes, some people like to meditate. Others like to journal and, gratitude diaries and things of that nature. Now for me, going back to 2014, I had a bit of a brain injury from fighting. Apparently you shouldn't get punched in the face for long periods of time. And I was put onto an app by Macquarie called HeartMath, and I'll put a little link down below. But the overarching message I'm saying is we have to put as much effort into training our mind as we do into training our muscles. It's one of the biggest factors that's left out of every health and fitness regime. Now the next point around nutrition might be a little bit controversial for some, because the in sort of diet at the moment is intermittent fasting. But if you've got any sort of underlying anxiety issues, or just maybe feel a little bit on edge, or there's a lot going on in your personal life, consistent meals every couple of hours is going to be a real winner for you. If it works for you, fantastic. But what we're talking about here is stress management. If we're skipping meals, we're going for long periods without food, the body doesn't understand what's going on. Therefore, cortisol levels will increase. Put down your phone, get out into nature. It's not rocket science. Personally, I've got a rule. I don't have emails on my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone or Instagram on my phone, because those constant pinging and notifications for me, having the businesses that I have, will lead me away from, one, not being present with my family for a start, and my kids that want to see me, hopefully, but the stress associated with following up and in certain times, and emails constantly pinging off. And it's just an opportunity to clear my mind, recharge the batteries, and get back in front. So there we have it, guys. There's a few tips on sorting out your stress. Manage your stress before it becomes a problem. If we do that, we won't need to overeat and have these, I suppose, self-sabotaging cycles to deal with it when it pops up. But stress is a part of our life. It's the way we are now with the ultimate, with how we're connected with the rest of the world. So it's very important to have some kind of plan in place to deal with it before it gets out of hand.